Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back. Today we're going to be having a bit of a discussion about some very obscure and pioneering interwar aircraft. But for a change, I'm not going to be the one doing most of the talking because we are joined by a special guest. And if they would like to do so, our special guest can now introduce themselves.
James Feuger. I am a aircraft aficionado and with knowledge of the obscure, the strange, the one-off, the prototype, that kind of thing. Briefly, I do quite a lot of work in museums, 5 or 6 to be precise, which includes restoration work and curatorial work. So, yes, I'm happy to be here to talk about the things that are near and dear to my heart. Strange, weird planes.
And you also have something of a reputation on my Discord server for being someone who has a lot of model aircraft. In fact, you have something like 114 hanging from your ceiling at present count. Is that correct?
That would be a correct statement. All of which are 1/72nd scale, so they're all within scale to each other. So that's important. It wouldn't make much sense to have a 1/48th next to a 1/32nd.
Exactly. You've built far more models than me, and my pile of shame sitting behind me right now can attest to that. So today we're going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planes. All are pretty interesting and have the appearance of aircraft that I would definitely be covering on this channel in general, because I think each one is aesthetically challenged, or at the very least aesthetically unique. Is probably the best way I would describe it. So why don't we begin with the first one on the list, and I will sort of like let you dictate the discussion of this. But the first aircraft is, I believe, the Stout Batwing.
Yeah, recently you did a video on the Ford Trimotor, and you touched on Stout's aircraft construction, the way that he constructs his aircraft, and some not so successful designs that came before the first real Ford Trimotor.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of one of the offshoots of his structural designs. The Batwing is this strange, I hesitate to call it a flying wing because it's not really. It's just really, it has a really thick chord and very short aspect ratio, small aspect ratio on the wings. It is like the V173, the Vought V173 was a flying pancake. This thing is the entire pan. It's huge. I think it was compared to a modern, say, Cessna 182, similarly sized, bit bigger wingspan though.
Yeah. It's basically like it essentially looks like the wing has grown and sort of just absorbed itself into the rest of the fuselage aft of the cockpit.
It's sort of, it looks like some aquatic creature, say a ray or something.
Mm.
It's not it. I mean, to some it may be pretty. To me, it's pretty, but to others, it's a little ugly. As I recall, it had a strange control system, not unlike standard, elevator, aileron, rudder. Except I believe the wingtips moved as roll control. I believe they were wingtip ailerons.
Yeah, I think you can see in one of the photos you sent me, where it's just sitting in the hangar under construction. You can
Yeah,
somewhat make it out.
you can see where the dividing line is.
Yeah, unfortunately, like there aren't that many good photos of this aircraft at all, outside of the initial sort of construction photos, and especially like digital copies online are very hard to find.
Yeah, and what you can find is either very grainy or it just not very helpful.
Mm.
As unfortunate as it is. But to quickly go through, I don't fully understand why he built this aircraft. It only seems to have 2 seats, and I'm not sure exactly what it was intended for. It definitely looks cool, and it would have had interesting performance. Gross weight's 1,800 pounds with a 150 horsepower Hispano Suiza up in the front. It's just a very strange aircraft. The pilot's perched up in an open cockpit on top, where I guess he has a great view of everything except for, you can't see the ground. There's a
Or
wing in
anything
the
to the
way.
left or to the right.
Well, I mean, you could see out if you put your wings on the horizon line, then you could see everything, just nothing below you.
Exactly. As long as you're not, taking off or landing, the two most dangerous aspects of flight, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of taking off landing, this thing didn't really fly all that much. It did a few straight hops, but after its debut, after its construction, and then it was put straight into storage, and there's not much known about what happened to it after. It is, however, the first aircraft in the USA with a cantilever wing, and the first with veneer skin.
Really?
So stressed skin, yeah. It is. It had a couple notable firsts attached to its construction, but beyond that, there's not much really going for it.
I think we might know, like, had Stout sort of not fallen into obscurity, or had Stout had a few more successes with later designs, I think today we might probably know a bit more about it. But because
Imagine
after
so.
his work with Ford, he sort of dropped off the radar a bit, even though he kept innovating and inventing. And
Yeah,
he came up with some very interesting concepts post-war. He never sort of achieved the same fame or recognition that a lot of other, I would say, eccentric slash eclectic designers did in his field of work, which is a shame, because some of his early concepts were truly interesting and would make for
yeah,
some great sort of mini docu-series, like documentaries these days on early aeronautical experiments. But there isn't much in the way of documentation from like records pertaining to him directly, and there's almost no photographic record.
yeah. It's a shame, really. I mean, but this is kind of how it is for a lot of these strange one-off aircraft.
Yeah.
You have maybe one or two pictures of the actual thing, but and maybe 5 sentences of what of the aircraft in its description, and beyond that, that's all we know about it. It's not awesome. I wish
No,
we knew more.
which is a shame, because like these are the sort of aircraft that I obviously love covering. But there's a reason why certain things like the Stout Batwing, for example, hasn't had its own dedicated video. It's just there isn't enough trustworthy information out there for me to actually do a video on it, which is why I sort of want to do these sort of more discussions like we're having today, where we look at these really interesting, unique planes that didn't really see the light of day. Because outside of just general discussions like this, there isn't really an effective way to convey much more information about the type, because that information doesn't exist, or if it does exist, it isn't verified.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I mean, the thought you gave there about finding information but not knowing if it was good or not. You've found more than I have, because I've found very little.
Yeah.
So little, in fact, that you can fit it into a couple sentences on one hand. Were you to write on that hand,
Yeah.
there's not much there.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely one of the most obscure ones on our list of planes today, I think.
oh, there's one more. Well, actually, at least two more that are just as obscure. We'll get to them in due time, however.
The next one I'm very excited to talk about, though.
Yes. Well, this fits into the sort of vein of odd airliners that you kind of look
Mm-hmm.
at most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So that
this
would
is
be the
the Zeppelin-Staaken E4/20.
this is the back end of this is post armistice, where Germany had quite a lot of restrictions placed on them post World War One. Post, yeah, post,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's the word. And which sort of prohibited them from building either large aircraft that could be capable of being bombers, or say fighter aircraft, anything that wasn't specifically sport or could be purchased elsewhere. Was heavily prohibited. So,
Mm.
which makes Zeppelin-Staaken's construction of this aircraft kind of a surprise, because they kind of had to know at some point that the aircraft was going to be scrapped
Yeah.
very soon after construction. I mean, Rex will be flashing up pictures along with this video, but it is, God, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a flying shed,
Yeah.
in the nicest way possible.
Yeah. It
Um,
is a bit brutalist in its appearance. Although, I'll put a comparison up whilst I'm talking here. When I first saw a photo of this, when you first talked about the particular planes you wanted to cover, I looked it up because I hadn't heard about the Zeppelin-Staaken until you mentioned it. The first thing I thought was this looks almost identical to the Armstrong Whitworth Atalanta, which is a plane that I covered about
Does.
8 or 9 months ago, I think. Thick, high wing monoplane with four like small to medium engines and like a very sort of curvy nose. Like the Zeppelin-Staaken has a shorter nose compared to the Atalanta, but like if you stuck them next to each other, like vaguely close in appearance.
Except I believe, but yes, I believe the Zeppelin-Staaken flew like 20 years before the Atalanta did.
Yes.
It's quite old.
Yes.
Which
It's
which
ahead
is
of
why
its
it's
time.
so quite literally ahead of its time. Engines in the wing, four-engine transport, of what we today would know as conventional.
Mm.
Large braced landing gear with dual main wheels on the same shaft. More or less cantilever wings besides the inner portion, which has a strut that supports the landing gear.
Yep.
And duralumin construction.
Yep.
Stressed skin, all metal.
Yeah, semi-monocoque in 1920.
Yeah. Fabric covered leading and trailing edge.
Mm.
Why leading? I never understood why leading edge.
I think that might have been a limitation on their ability to form the metal.
I imagine that's probably what it is.
That's probably what it is, because I reckon like a
Yeah.
lot of the rest of the metal was just cut and stamped.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Cut stamped. I think.
Yeah, I think Junkers at this point still had the sort of monopoly on doing the more complex shapes and forming. Oh, and
Yeah.
Dornier as
Yeah.
well. Actually, I
Oh,
would
and
say yeah.
Dornier, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Claude Dornier, not Junkers. Dornier had the monopoly at the beginning, and then the other German manufacturers sort of quickly caught on, like Rohrbach and Junkers and that.
Yeah. Right. God, I was gonna say that. This is great. Um, it some of the anachronisms though in the design was you still had an open cockpit,
Mm-hmm.
fixed pitch wooden propellers, and some limited. Well, the thing was slow. It wasn't very fast. Max speed is 143 miles per hour.
Cool.
It kind of just crawled along the sky.
Yeah.
Cruising speed is cruised at 130. 750-mile range, so not all that really useful. Did have accommodation for 12 to 18 passengers with a crew of 5.
That's considerable for the time when, like, I
Yeah,
think the average airliner was like 8 to 12,
right.
if that.
It's the crew of 5 that really gets me. Why do you need 5 crew? And it dawned on me that one of them's a steward. In
Oh,
1920, one of them's a steward. There's 2 pilots, a radio operator, an engineer, and a steward. It had radio telegraph communications. It had a toilet. It had a galley, as well as separate mail and baggage storage compartments. It's definitely ahead of its time
yeah.
in terms of ideas.
Oh, definitely.
Execution leaves some to be desired, but it's one of the first. I mean, you can give them a pass for that.
Sadly, it got scrapped.
Sadly it got scrapped in, but construction was completed in 1919. It was flown multiple times between 1920 and 22 before being broken up on orders of the Inter-Allied Commission because of the armistice agreements.
Mm.
And so it was. I mean, it's a really cool airplane.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But yeah, too little, too late. Yep. Although it's interesting to note that the door in which to get into it is not on the side. There is no side door. The door to get in is the nose.
Yes.
The whole nose hinges open to the left.
You've even got a photo here of like a woman like standing in the threshold of the door, and there's just this little basic ladder to get in and out.
Yeah. You'd think that you'd have like maybe loading stairs or something. No. This is 1920. They do it rustic then.
Yes.
Just kind of step up this ladder, man. Watch for the wind. It's fine. Just step on in. Yeah, I've never found pictures of the interior, but I assume like other aircraft at the time, it was probably wicker.
Yeah,
because it's lightweight and it's easier to use than say any of the metal that was inside, like any of the duralumin at the time. It's just too heavy.
Yeah, I would definitely say that the interior furnishings would probably be on par with other transport at the time, like wicker, mostly just wicker or wood chairs.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about, though. I mean,
And it was quite big. Like you've got a photo of it lined up on a field with a whole heap of people out the front of it.
Yeah, it's considerably sized.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this thing in person. This
Oh,
is definitely up there with the kind of airplane I'm interested in.
yeah. This would be a nice thing. Like, if they could build like a modern replica of it, stick it in a museum somewhere in Germany. That would be a nice
That would
exhibit
be
to
cool.
see. Because yeah,
This
like you
is
said, for 1920, this thing is very ahead of its time.
some of the things. I'll point out a few things before we move on to the next thing. One of my favorite parts of it are the propellers, the engines. All the engines on the starboard side turn counterclockwise. All the engines on the port side turn clockwise. It's counter-rotating engines, or
Oh,
counter. Yeah, if you look at that head-on shot where all the people are, you can see the twist in the propeller
yes,
blade.
you can. Yes.
So they were wary of how torque affects flight, at least at that point.
Mm.
So they went for a counter-rotating propeller on either side, counter-rotating engines, which would have helped with some of the gyroscopic effects of having that many engines that close together on the leading edge.
Yeah.
Which is another innovative idea for the time.
Yep.
You don't see that very often.
No.
You also don't see it very often now because it's
No,
a little
you don't.
almost too complex to do.
Mm.
But in this age, it was hey, try what's new. Also, another thing I like are the huge counterbalances on the ends of the ailerons.
Yes.
They are massive. That would move a lot of air.
Yes.
Which and at the slow speed it's moving, you won't have to worry about flutter at that time. You're just not moving fast enough. But
No.
if it were to have to go faster, I would begin to worry about some flutter effects coming from those.
Yes. Thankfully, you're only cruising at, what was it, 118?
130.
Oh, 130, yeah. So you're not going particularly fast through the air.
No,
But,
not at all.
No, I would, like, definitely one of the most innovative designs of that immediate post-war period, without a question. And one that probably most people outside of, our specific niche probably wouldn't know existed.
Yeah, that's again one of the many reasons I like doing this is because I get to show normal people just the weird stuff they came up with when ideas were still fluid at the beginnings of innovation for aircraft. It's really interesting.
Yep, back when everything was trial by error because we literally hadn't done this before, so you've got to try everything to see what works. There's no computers, there's no way to predict things in simulations, bar just estimated number crunching.
To me, it's the age of exploration as far as aviation is concerned.
It really is. Like that early period, 1900 to around 1930, it was just, it was the wild lands.
It really was.
You just bolted something that looked vaguely like an airfoil onto a shape that was somewhat aerodynamic, stick an engine on it, let's see if it works.
Mm-hmm. I believe your stipulation for having me choose some of these was keep it below 1928.
Yes.
And to be fair, I couldn't find anything that really was interesting to me past 22.
Yeah.
It's just there wasn't a lot because everything sort of started getting uniform after 1923 or so.
Yeah, the process of elimination very quickly caught up because internationally, like in America, in Europe, in Asia even, everyone was sort of figuring out at the exact same time, okay, this design is going to work, this isn't working. And obviously, with the rapid development of aviation technology in the First World War, and particularly the development of full-scale wind tunnels, that had a big impact because at the beginning of the 20s, not a lot of people had access to full-scale wind tunnels, or even moderate-scale wind tunnels. But as the decade progressed, you very quickly sort of see this shift to a more science-based, data-driven design process.
Yeah, it's it's just really cool. Yeah, I'm sure you'll put up a bunch of the pictures that I sent.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be putting up photos for this. Otherwise, it's just going to be a black screen with two faceless voices rambling about.
Two faces were rambling about strange airplanes. Yeah,
exactly.
That could be worse.
The next one,
yes,
is another one that I've not heard of.
Yeah, this one is sort of near and dear to me, considering I work at a place where the last known extant piece of one of these exists.
Oh, okay.
This is the Caspar U1. Now, some of the people who, or I'd say most of the people who watch your channel, would know of the I-400 class submarine that Japan built at the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
The aircraft carrying submarine, which was an idea that had been around since the 20s. This is 1918. This is, yeah, pre 1922, technically, because we're not really too sure when it was first built and flown. But it was designed as a German observation aircraft to be carried in a tube on top of a submarine. It's just, I mean, this is one of the niche sort of aircraft types that I'm really drawn to is aircraft for submarines. Because at the time, you can't see very far in a submarine. You kind of just see what's in front of you, and then sometimes you really can't see what's in front of you.
No.
Which was nice that when this is more geared towards cruiser submarines, which would have larger caliber deck weapons.
Mm-hmm.
This is to spot the fall of their shells and to patrol for danger.
Yep.
So the U1 Strange, at least just for what it is, and also in its construction, it has cantilever wings. There's no struts. It has no struts whatsoever.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's not quite like anything else. There's two crew. It's in a single cockpit. The pilot sits all the way wedged up forwards, and the observer kind of straddles him behind. It's a 5-cylinder radial engine, about 55 horsepower. So it doesn't have a lot of get up and go speed. Two-bladed wood propeller. It's designed to meet a requirement to fit inside a cylindrical container, about 25 feet long, with a diameter of 5.5 feet thereabouts.
It's not a lot of space.
It's not. So which is why there's an absence of flying wires and struts, because you don't want complexity when you're setting this thing up really fast. It can be carried by the submarine, and it's claimed that during tests, 4 men could remove the U-1 from its container and erect it in a minute and 3 seconds.
I'd like to know what attachment methods they used for the wings.
I would like to know too. I'm wondering if it's just pins.
It's a shame that all of the surviving photos are mostly just profile shots, like sort of at like 3/4 angle, like at the 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
If there are more pictures of this, I'd like to find them, because it's not explained how it works. I mean, there's the general line 3 view of how it fits inside of its container and how it's put together, but there's no real anything to do with how it actually goes together. I mean, as far as a small aircraft, it's kind of attractive.
It looks like the upper wing is a single piece that gets attached.
Yeah, it does.
And it looks like, obviously, the lower wing is 2 separate sections.
Yes, I believe that's correct. No, sorry. Both wings are a single piece.
Oh, so the lower piece sort of just goes into a recess.
Yeah, so if you look at the look at the 3 view,
Yep.
The black and white line drawing, you can see that both wings sit alongside the aircraft.
Oh, in the tube, yes, okay.
In the tube, yeah.
Yep.
And then the floats go on either side,
and
then the horizontal stabilizers and elevators fold up against the fin and rudder.
I know they say, like, a crew of 4 men can take that out and assemble it in, X number of minutes, but I reckon if this submarine is operating anywhere where the weather is remotely cold, that
so
time
like the North Sea,
like the North Sea, for example, they will take considerably longer, because when you're in near 0-degree temperatures
with waves,
you are not going to be assembling that at anywhere near that. That speed is optimistically estimated. That is if you're in the calms of the sort of equatorial waters, where there's no rough sea, there's warm sun on your muscles.
I imagine that time was based on in harbor.
Oh, it would have been, yeah, easily.
Oh, and by the guys who knew the aircraft. So like probably the people who worked at Caspar or Heinkel's guys, because that's Heinkel was there at the time.
Yeah,
I believe
not a
design.
raw crew. Not a raw crew.
No. It should be said that both aircraft, because again, armistice things, they were seized by the Allied Commission,
Yep.
and then sent to the United States for testing. They were brought to NAS Acacia in 1922, and then tested in 23. One of them was damaged during unloading and loading from a truck during a parade, and I found some reference of this in the museum I work at's archives. That they were putting it on a truck, and the straps they were using to move it broke, and it just basically fell
Oh
from a
no.
couple feet, and which cracked a few things. I think they scrapped it after that.
Yeah,
But
that'll do it.
yeah, both aircraft were scrapped in the end, but a set of floats still survives at the museum that I work at. They sit up on the rafters in one of the cold storage buildings. There's no attachment points. There's no attachment struts or anything for them. They're just the floats. Probably never going to be displayed, which is why at some point I want to purchase them because that'd be cool to have.
You could sort of turn one into like a coffee table style thing. Use the float as the
Oh no!
stand.
I was gonna try and build a replica.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have at least one around.
Here's me just thinking about a place to stick my my coffee cups during the day, and you're
I
like,
mean,
no, I shall build a replica. You can tell
yeah.
we have different priorities with that.
I mean, on a slight tangent, this is sort of something that happens at the museum I'm at. They seem to collect a lot of floats from experimental seaplanes and aircraft that don't have the aircraft attached to them.
Oh, I can relate
Uh,
because the museum that I work at also has a vast collection of floats just sitting out in the back area,
yeah,
including some that have actually got bullet holes in them.
yeah, yeah. We have two. You know what the Seamew is? The Curtis
Yeah,
Seamew.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we have two of the main floats from Seamews, but no Seamews exist.
No, what I'm hearing is that aviation museums the world over like collecting floats.
Yes, this is what I've found. Yeah. Anyway, uh, that was another fun tangent. Um,
Listen, I'm known for going off on tangents, so we'll allow this one.
Great.
Now that wraps up the U1.
Caspar U1.
The next one is another. This is probably one of the two most obscure, you would say?
No, actually,
No?
this was the one that's coming up now, the Lougheed S-1. In my mind, is the predecessor of all Lockheed aircraft.
Mm.
Everything comes from this, which is why I don't think it's that obscure. I mean, yes, it's obscure because no one really knows what it is, but it's not an end point. It's
Yep.
a starting point.
Yep.
This isn't the end of a production line. This isn't the end of one company that built this one thing.
Yep.
This is the beginning point for pretty much every Lockheed and Lockheed Martin aircraft that now exists or has existed. Yeah, the Lougheed S-1 Sport. This is before Lockheed changed their name
Yes.
because of pronunciation problems.
Because he was
by
getting
other
mad
people.
because people would call him Loghead instead of Lockheed.
That's exactly right. Yeah, this is an interesting. It's a sporting biplane. It used a single 25 horsepower engine of two-cylinder engine, water cooled, horizontally opposed, of Lougheed's own design. Not my first idea or choice for testing a new airplane.
No, and that's
Generally,
also that's a very small engine.
it's tiny.
Yeah.
I included a picture of the installation. It is tiny. So it's tiny, yes, but it's kind of big.
Yeah.
It's a very strange looking engine.
There's a lot of it takes up a lot of horizontal space as opposed to vertical
It
space.
does. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Being, horizontally
It's also
opposed.
probably one of the first horizontally opposed engines I've heard of, besides the Cardan Ford engines in England. I don't think I've heard of an earlier, or at least a used earlier horizontally opposed engine. This is what do we call them now? Boxer engines?
Yeah.
About the same? Yeah. It's a 28-foot span, length of 20 feet, loads about 225 pounds. It was designed by Alan Lougheed and Jack Northrop. Jack Northrop had a hand in designing this thing.
This would have been one of the earliest things he had an involvement with then.
Yes, this is one of the first aviation things he had an involvement with. Test flown at Redwood City in California by a pilot named Gilbert Budwig, who had really good things to say about it once he landed. It has a really interesting design feature of a lower wing that pivots on a horizontal axis as an air brake for when you land. The whole wing
Oh,
swings rearward
yep.
into a vertical position with the trailing edge pointing upwards as a air
Oh,
brake.
that's why there's that in the
Uh,
drawing. That's why there's that control cable.
yes, yeah, in the drawing,
Yep.
there's that control cable. So actually, if you look at the first picture, you can
Yep.
see it deployed.
Oh, yes, you
Um,
can. Yes.
it's very weird looking. Uh, Almost looks like they're in the process of folding it up, but no, that's an air
How much
brake.
control would that require? Because like they, how quickly would that
That's a lot
deploy
of
as well?
force.
Because that is a lot of force.
And it
You
doesn't
would
look like it's pivoted at the middle of the airfoil section, so there's some there's a lot of force getting pushed against that. This isn't just a
you would need to
quick
fight
flip.
that. You would need to fight that with the stick.
Yeah,
Otherwise you're gonna be flipping over.
oh definitely. And I think it was only deployable, or at least thought to be deployable, on once the wheels touched the ground. I don't think it was meant to be deployed in
Oh,
flight.
that would make a lot more sense.
I don't think you'd want to deploy it in
No,
flight.
what my literal first thought was that's a Widowmaker if you try and use that in flight.
That's a quick dive to the ground.
Yes.
So interesting. It had folding wings for stowage,
Hmm.
which I think I don't think I have a good picture of that, unfortunately. It had folding wings for storage. It had a monocoque fuselage of glued plywood formed in concrete molds. What does that sound like to you? Sounds kind of like a Mosquito
It
or
does.
a Lockheed Vega.
Mm.
A Lockheed Vega. Hmm.
So this is where
Lockheed.
they sort of
This
tested that.
probably.
This is like the origins of the Vega's DNA can be found in this.
I like to think so.
Yep.
Apparently, it was the projected design was two place. It may have been two place. It may have been single seat. I've seen both referenced.
Yep.
I'm not too sure which one's which, but it was marketed as an everyman's plane, quote quote. Never really succeeded because of the abundance of cheap war surplus aircraft after World War One. Um,
Yes.
but it's an interesting stepping stone for a lot of what would come after it. I mean, it's an attractive airplane.
I was just about to say it looks really sleek.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that
that
cigar shaped
monocoque fuselage.
fuselage. Oh,
Yes,
yes.
the monocoque fuselage it's so smooth. It just looks. I mean, if it had a bigger engine, maybe it would have been a real contender. It's just like yeah, it's an interesting design, an interesting step, and I guess a pioneering step as far as where Lockheed went after that. As a lot of a lot of some of this the pictures I pulled from a now dead website that had an intro for somebody that was trying to make a an RC model of this, and why he chose to choose this as a subject. Well, cool idea, but gosh, I mean, you could have gone with something simpler, man.
They clearly had a taste for incredibly niche designs.
Yeah, I think we'd get along with them well.
I was going to say there's probably actually a huge market for that. You know, people getting models of the rarest, most obscure, and oldest aircraft they can find.
Also, something I've just noticed. I see. Okay, I don't see any ailerons on the top wing.
You are
Okay, so now
correct.
that begs the question: is the lower wing also the aileron? That would be interesting. Wow, that'd be a lot of control for that era.
Let me have a
Imagine.
look.
Yeah, I don't see any. We have that rear view of it at the state capitol there. I don't see ailerons there, and I definitely don't see ailerons in any of the other pictures.
No, no,
That's
there's
interesting.
no lines to indicate anything on the wingtips.
Yeah, besides this flying guy wires.
I mean, maybe the wings
I
are
don't.
an adjustable control surface. I mean that makes sense because it looks like the control cables are all going back to a sort of
Yeah, that's weird. I mean,
central.
it's too rigid to be wing warping.
I will consult the sacred text, also known as
I,
Lockheed Aircraft, since 19. What's its thing?
does that book have a entry for this?
It might.
Something else I noticed that that picture of it at the state capitol. The elevators are joined.
All right, I am pulling up my copy of this S1. For lateral control, the aircraft used neither ailerons nor wing warping, but its entire lower wing surfaces could change
Oh,
angle differentially on a fuselage pivot point.
wow.
So yeah,
Okay, that's really cool.
both of the lower wings were essentially giant control surfaces.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And the book also has a photo of the tubs used for forming the plywood fuselage. And there's also a very grainy photo in the book of the S-1 in flight.
Found a picture of it flying, so that's interesting. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, that's cool. So it had, dare I say, a flying wing for control,
Mm.
a flying surface. Interesting. And then, of
Yeah.
course, they also acted as air brakes, so
Yeah.
it does double duty. Oh, that's
Yep.
really weird. So would that be air brakeleron? What would you call that?
Yeah, air brakeleron would be a good term. I'm happy to use this and add it to
Air
the
brakeleron.
the dictionary of strange aeronautical terms that everyone
The
uses in this space.
compendium of worlds. Yeah.
Yes. I should write a book on that. But no, they were independently controlled.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, and they must have only deflected upwards for differential of control.
yeah,
So one would probably stay stationary and the other one would deflect.
yeah,
That would be an interesting coupling. You'd get some interesting control coupling with that. Because that's a lot of force being applied.
yeah.
Wow.
Makes me wonder about its ability to do sharp maneuvering.
I mean, it can probably do a wing over real easy.
Yeah, too
I
easily.
mean, snap rolls, yeah. It would. Yeah, that's interesting.
Considering
I
it's meant to
wonder
be
what
an
the
everyman's
pros were.
plane,
Yeah.
that seems to me a very adventurous choice. And if that was put into the hands of rookie pilots, I could see that leading to a couple of accidents quite easily.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That's a lot of control. I wonder how far the actual control throws were, because if it's not a lot, it could be pretty docile.
Yeah.
But if it's too much, that's just basically you put your aileron to the right and then you're on the ground immediately.
Unfortunately, I don't think
Doesn't
we're ever
seem.
gonna find the answer to that.
All right, I know. I know. I have to build an RC model of this and see how
Yep.
it flies.
There's only
All
one way to
right.
find out.
There's only one way to find out. Yeah, but really interesting airplane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
Right.
We
Yes.
have the owl.
Yes, the LFW.
Oh my goodness.
LWF.
It looks so Italian.
It's not though.
I know, but it looks
It's
Italian.
American.
It looks like a Caproni bomber from
It
World
does.
War One.
It really does. The triple tail included.
Yes.
It's so it's okay. It's somewhere weirdly in between super aerodynamic and also not.
Yeah.
Like it looks sleek, but it also looks like a flying barn.
This is my favorite one from the list that you gave me
Yeah.
of all the ones. This is the one I've been most excited for you to get to in this conversation because I just love the look of this thing. This looks like something you would see in like a Studio Ghibli film or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's wacky.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites as far as just weird planes go.
Mm.
It is okay. It's first of all, it's huge. It's 106-foot span.
Yeah.
It's 53 feet long with a load carrying capacity of 7,600 pounds. I think it's a. Okay, so it's not a bomber. That's the thing. It's not a bomber.
What is it?
Originally planned as a transport aircraft. Where would you put anything in that?
Where's the
airplane?
cargo hold? Is it in that?
don't know.
Is it in that little like the rear bit of that central nacelle? Because it doesn't look like there's much space there.
I really don't know. I don't know where you'd put anything. So it was made as a transport airplane, but it had defensive gun position. One notably at the rear of that central pod. Yeah, it's really weird. It had triple fins and rudders, or sorry, double fins, triple rudders. So it had one rudder in the middle that was all flying.
Yep.
It had what's quoted as high lift wings, and I think you can kind of see why. It has some something at the leading edge of the tips of the wings.
Yep.
There's some mechanism there. I wonder if it's a slat or something like that. I really don't know. But it's big, and it looks like the engines are accessible in flight because there's platforms that are built around them, and they're exposed engines.
Those Liberties?
Those are, I believe they're Hall Scott. No, they're Liberties, Liberty 12s, yep.
Yep.
They're Liberties.
I was going to say 1920, big American plane. Yeah. Be surprised if it wasn't Liberty engined.
And again, to go off of it's supposed to be a transport, it has a bomb rack on the bottom, under the center, which is why the axles are disconnected on either side.
Transport in air quotes.
Yes, right.
That makes me feel like that might have been an issue. It makes me feel like it might have been an error somewhere, like between when it was made to when books have been written.
So here's the thing: is I wonder if this is a similar thing to, say, Heinkel calling the HE-111 a transport plane.
Oh, and the same with Dornier's DO-17, like a rapid transport. Yes,
right. Because later, after they dropped the transport, they marketed it as a long-range night mail plane. Hence the OWL name, a mail plane. Where have we heard that before? Yeah. So this is conjecture, of course, but
yes.
I don't know. It just seems very strange to me that this would be anything beyond a bomber.
It looks like a bomber, and it makes sense in the immediate post-war years when no one really wants to invest in anything military. The people that still want to invest in that, like, the people actually in the engineering space, need to market it as something else that can be easily converted. Right. And, a fast mail plane is probably the route that you would take.
Right, which makes the next thing all too telling, that the only people who were interested in it were the air service.
That tracks. That tracks.
It really does. Yeah, it had a center nacelle with room for 3 crew members in between struts between the wings, and it's flanked on either side by similarly braced tail booms. Now, I don't know what the tail booms are constructed of, but they look monocoque.
They do.
They're really smooth. Really smooth. Which makes this, again, like, this is 1920. That's really sleek for 1920 for being a biplane.
Yeah,
definitely up there for innovative. 6-wheeled gear, later converted to 4 because it was too complex. The full load takeoff distance was only 400 feet, so basically it stole.
That's very short for the time. For something of that size, anyway. Like, smaller planes, obviously. But...
It's huge, yeah. So it's all 3 fuselages had Liberty L12 400 horsepower engines. They're fabricated. The whole airplane was fabricated from laminated wood, with 3 thin layers of wood laid at an angle to each other, with their grains at an angle.
Yep.
And separated by fabric in between, which I guess makes it more flexible. I'm not sure. That's an interesting way to do aircraft.
I'm guessing the fabric would be soaked in the binding agent.
I'd imagine so. It'd be like micarta or something.
Yeah.
That's like, for anyone who doesn't know what micarta is a resin dipped. It's resin dipped any material and then layered that material. That's what micarta is. Yeah. So it's a 4-bay biplane with ailerons on both upper and lower wings. It had biplane horizontal stabilizer with 3 rudders and ailerons on all. Yeah. So yeah. No fin was provided for the center rudder. I don't know why. I imagine it was probably structural and reason. But they had serious aerodynamic counterbalances for everything.
Yeah,
to reduce control forces.
You can see that on the outer wings.
Yeah, the ailerons have super huge counterbalance control horns. It's interesting. Yeah, it's a strange airplane. It's cool. It's definitely like that shot of it, the 3/4 view from the right rear, it's really cool looking.
I love the look of it. But only one was built, wasn't it?
Yeah, only one. That's it. Yeah. They only built one. The elevators are interesting in that picture because the lower one is one continuous surface, and the upper one is 2 individual surfaces between the fins and rudders.
Yes.
The outer portion on the upper is fixed. It's not movable. Really interesting. And there's huge counterbalances on the elevators too. It's a lot of control. I really do wonder how controllable it was. And it's
clearly not enough because it crashed.
There's that picture of it crash into a swamp.
Yes.
I don't know the story behind that crash. but it looks like it got real screwed up.
Yeah,
Although
the nose
I
looks
think,
unhappy.
yeah. Well, I thought so. The last picture, which shows it in an even more decrepit state, actually, I think that last picture is its earlier iteration because in the later pictures, it has its center fuselage engine radiator in between the propeller and the fuselage. That one, that last picture has it up above the cockpit.
Mm.
So I wonder if this is an earlier shot and it was in an accident. Then they fix it up and flew it again. Then it was in another accident.
Okay. I've just quickly pulled up another document, because
Okay.
I vaguely remembered this from something. So it was in an accident. It was repaired. And it was not in another accident. It was later burned as scrap, along with other discarded aircraft, which is a
Oh,
crime.
oh no,
Yep,
that's
yep.
horrible.
Yeah, so it was crashed. It encountered engine cooling troubles, which was apparently a regular issue for this, and it crashed in a
Huh?
swamp.
I see that.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
repaired, and then yeah, around 1923, 1924, it was burned.
Why would you? Why burn it? What could be the point of that?
Look, so many planes in the 1920s were destroyed like that because people didn't think, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we should preserve this for, future reflection. But no.
Future, no one really thought about it. It's like it was, yeah. No one cared really.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, it's just a failed design. No one's going to be interested in that in 100 years.
Yeah.
100 years later,
That's
two men on the internet screaming, why would you burn this?
yeah. That stinks.
Yeah.
The guy, just a quick, the guy who designed this thing, Raoul Hoffman, was definitely an innovator of his time as well. He built some very interesting tailless aircraft.
Mm.
The Arup S-1, S-2, S-3, and S-4, which are which look a lot like the Stout Batwing, actually. Quite a lot like the Stout Batwing.
Oh, they
They
do, actually,
are,
yeah.
yeah, and they have wingtip ailerons again, like the
Yep.
Stout Batwing.
Yep.
Then they're really interesting looking. And then Hoffman went on to build one more aircraft for for his own company called the Arup, called the Hoffman Heel Wing, HEEL wing. And it's semi-tailless, semicircular heel wing, which was what he was doing for the Arup designs. And it's definitely something. And it looks to me like it has the ailerons and elevator at the rear, all along the rear surface.
Yeah, I'm just looking up a little drawing on that now.
Yeah.
God, it was tiny as well.
Yeah, it's not big.
No.
I wonder what the ability to turn that thing was, because it
It
doesn't
looks
look
like a
very.
flying saucer that's crashed into a wall. It's just smushed at the front.
Yeah, it does. Take that, aliens. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. And Hoffman went on. I don't remember what Hoffman did at the end. But that airplane did eventually crash. It caught fire and crashed because the fuel lines were leaking.
Oh, yeah,
It
that
killed its
usually.
test pilot, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would be a natural end of events. Yes.
Yeah, it was supposed to have retractable landing gear.
Did not in actuality.
No, all the tests were made with fixed gear. Apparently, it was also rather successful in its flying characteristics, and won many impromptu races against conventional aircraft of the same engine size.
Now that would have been an interesting sight to witness.
I would have liked to see that.
It's like, Jeremy, why is a flying pancake beating our conventional plane?
Yeah. Truly. All right. I believe we're on the last one now.
Yes.
This is one of the really obscure ones. Would you like to lead out with the I guess.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the final main one we want to talk about is something known simply as the McCabe 1917.
Yeah, there really isn't much known about this thing.
It's like someone took a model biplane, put like a drop of super glue or cement on the wingtips, and then just squeezed the wings together.
Yeah, pinched it.
And
Yeah.
waited for the glue to set. And this was the result. are those the control surfaces on the outside of that
Yeah,
folded
yeah, they
bit?
are.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is. I'm trying to understand the logic behind this design.
I don't know if there is logic. It uses a V twin engine. God, it used a two-cylinder V twin engine, like from a motorcycle. Yeah, it had a Thor motorcycle engine. It is God. There's not much, really, not much known about it. It has serious dihedral on those wingtips. Like,
Yes.
there's a lot of dihedral on those. And it's got a flying tail. It has a full moving rear surface. Yeah, it is just weird. I mean, it's basically he tested a bunch of gliders first with this configuration, and apparently he came up with that it was a good configuration.
Is the tail a
I mean,
copy essentially of the main wings?
I don't know. They're not. It's not curved though.
Because there's
It's
one photo where it looks like the tail is curved. The second photo you sent to me.
let's see.
If you zoom in.
Oh yes. Okay, so I think that's either a later design that never flew, because that one has less dihedral on its wingtip, and it has a different engine, and it has a nose gear. I think that's a different airplane.
Mm.
And that tail arrangement is definitely just a replicated front, but tinier. That's interesting, and I really should have looked better when I included the pictures. But the original is this. God, it's so strange looking. It is really one of the weirdest airplanes I've ever seen. And apparently it still exists too. I don't know where it is, but it does still exist, unrestored.
Yeah,
Apparently
that
McCabe.
photo of it in a museum, is that a replica, or is that
No, that's the real thing.
that's the real thing? Okay, it looks like a
That's the
fairly
real
old
thing.
photo though.
Yeah, that looks at least from like the 90s or something,
Yeah.
from the 80s or 90s. As far as I know, it still exists. His entire point of putting his wings like that was to get around Curtis and write patents.
Oh, of course, yes. Because
Yeah,
at the time, the patent war was in full swing, which essentially
yeah.
froze all innovation in the States.
Which was interesting because once he figured out this wing configuration, he put in a patent for it and won a patent for it. He was awarded his own patent for the wing design. And then he went on to attempt to sell the U.S. Navy a float plane with this wing configuration, but I don't think it went anywhere.
No, I
And
mean,
then,
to be fair, the Navy would have
yeah.
taken one look at that and gone, what?
Well, let's be real. The Navy also seriously considered, what was the guy's name? Oh, I just was talking about this to somebody else earlier. God, it was a float plane, a single main float biplane. It had a tubular fuselage with the propeller in the middle of the rear fuselage. Why can't I think of the name? I'm sure one of our viewers will probably figure out what the hell we're talking about.
It's okay. I will be editing this anyway, so
Yeah, you'll figure it out. And
I'll make
if
it
by the end of
look
this
like
episode,
we're a lot more professional. So
oh no, I mean, you may want that, but yeah, no. But I guess this is, yeah. It's such a strange. I can almost find no words to describe this thing.
yeah,
It is just so weird.
of all of the obscure planes that we could talk about, the McCabe
Yeah,
is definitely one of them.
yeah. It's one of the aircraft of all time.
Apparently, the museum that it's at is the Dawson County Historical Museum in Lexington, Nebraska.
Lexington, Nebraska. Okay,
Yeah.
and it is still there, right?
Yeah, apparently it is still there. The configuration that it is stored in is you've still got the weird, like, main wings, but the tail is a more traditional shape.
Okay.
Although, it looks like it has essentially no fixed vertical fin. Like, the vertical part of the tail is almost all rudder, and that is tiny. I'm looking at a really grainy photo of this thing from the rear, and
What directional stability was?
yeah, non-existent if that's the vertical control surface. Because when I say it's tiny, it is quarter, maybe 1/5 of the size you would expect.
Really,
In
it's just
compared to
minuscule.
it's. I'll send you a photo and I'll pop it up on the screen for the viewers here as we're talking about this. But I'll just quickly send this to you now whilst we're recording this live.
Oh
See that
wow, it really
it's
is
like a
tiny.
stub. It looks like someone's actually
Holy
snapped off the the vertical tail fin, and that's just the stub that remains. But
it's like the back of a chair is glued to glued to the
yeah,
rear.
literally.
Jesus, it's also not that big. The airplane is tiny,
But
really.
there is another image of it, and this is with the tail in a different configuration again, like how the tail is
Oh yeah,
mirroring.
that's the other one.
Yeah.
Weird. I wonder. So he must have tested. So that actually is not the aircraft. That's not the powered
No.
one.
No,
That's a
exactly.
glider.
That's a glider. So it looks like they've
It's being
tested at
towed by
least
that.
two. Yeah,
Yeah.
by the car, by the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
God, what a strange. That's just weird.
So that is an
Uh,
invitation to the viewers out there. If anyone has any more information on the McCabe 1917, please feel free to pipe up and leave a comment, and it's something that we can return to at another point in the future. Because
yeah.
again, you and I can only, you and I both have our own niche obsessions within the aviation space, and I did the math a while ago. If I wanted to talk about every pre-1945 aircraft, this isn't even covering anything in the pioneering era of the jet age of 1945 to 1960. If we're just looking at the piston era, I would need approximately 2.5 centuries to talk about everything that I would want to. I did the math. I
Wow.
basically compiled a list of all known, and this took me about 2 years to make. When I talk about my list of aircraft, this is something I've just been. This is just a list of every known flying machine ever made, heavier than air flight. And this isn't covering airships or blimps. Even if I was, say, doing a video every 3 days, that is how long it would take.
Good Lord.
That is how many aircraft were made up to 1950. And, of that list, a pretty large chunk of that list, there is either one or no photos surviving of these things. Some of them are so niche and so undocumented, particularly in nations outside of, the big ones where you think about aviation, outside of, Central Europe, outside of North America, and, outside of, say, Japan, Australia, that sort of thing, right? There are so many pioneering designs, especially pre 1930 from other countries that just have completely fallen into total obscurity, and a lot of the details have just been lost. There are just obscure references here and there. There's the occasional newspaper article, a really ancient grainy photo from a newspaper that's been scanned 3 times and uploaded to some sort of archive that's barely managed. There are some really, really obscure but very interesting designs out there, and we're just, with all the time in the world, I wouldn't have the time to cover it. So, if
This is
people
why
are
you have us
listening,
for them.
yeah, exactly. And so, like, if people have anything particularly interesting that they want to pipe up and mention, please feel free to do so, because if I don't mention it, someone else has to, because, I
Yes.
literally don't have the the years of life to cover everything I want to. I mean, it's great for job security. There's always going to be things
You're
for me to
right,
talk
right.
about, but I'm not going to have the hours in the day, or not even the days in a century for it.
Right. I figured out what that aircraft manufacturer was that I was thinking about.
Oh,
It's
who was it?
Gallaudet.
Who?
Gallaudet. Yeah. Here, I'll send a picture of one of the aircraft. It's propeller in fuselage.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
That
We
looks
have
like
their
something you would
archives.
see in Wacky Races.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the McCabe definitely does, but
Yeah.
we have the Museum of Volunteer has the archives for Gallaudet's aircraft, all of their correspondence and everything. It is they're an interesting company. They produced a lot of stuff in World War One, and designed a lot of interesting aircraft post-war and into the 30s, into the 20s and 30s. Then their big thing was uh, middle was it mid fuselage propellers. They worked a lot of time on them, mostly for naval applications.
Mm.
Not sure why. I mean, it's an interesting design. Don't get me wrong, but
It's
that
definitely
seems
something you don't see much.
highly complex
Yeah.
for 1918 is when they were really around.
Mm.
Four blade propeller attached to a ring around the center fuselage. It's weird.
Yeah. The only one I can think of
Yeah.
off the top of my head was there was a British design that is
Sure.
similar to that. It was one of those cannon fighters that was developed in the interwar years.
Okay.
It wasn't a true like centrally mounted
Was it
engine.
the Royal Aircraft Factory's BE-9?
Is that the one that had the cow gun?
No, so that's Vickers. Vickers had the cow gun.
Yeah. So it was the Vickers one, because it looked like it was essentially mounted engine when it really wasn't. It's just like, there was essentially
It's
a
just rear
superstructure
mounted.
behind it. It was essentially a pusher propeller with a really long, pointy bit attached to
I
the
thought you were
back of it.
talking. I thought you were talking about the BE-9. Here's a picture. You'll put it up, I assume. at
No,
some
no,
point.
no, not the BE-9, but
Yeah.
no, the BE-9 is another
Yeah.
example of the propeller in a not conventional location.
It's sort of, that also reminds me of that SPAD that
Yeah.
SPAD did one.
I would be
S
incredibly
SA.
reluctant to get into a plane where the propeller is that
Yeah.
close to the cockpit.
To the back of my head? No, thank you.
Like,
I'm good.
what if you went, what if you forgot it was there and you go to like scratch the back of your head or something, and you just lose your
no.
fingertips? Like, that is just,
No.
that is a flying health and safety violation of biblical proportions.
OSHA would not be happy with that aircraft.
Honestly, that gives me an idea for a video, like, top 10 OSHA disapproved aircraft.
I would like that'd be fun. Yeah, it'd be enjoyable.
Actually, that's not a bad idea at all. I'm adding that to the
Write
list
that
of
down.
the ever-growing
down.
list of write that down. The ever-growing list of video topics that I want to do.
We could do another one of these where I pull up stuff like that.
Actually, that would be a really fun discussion. I think we should do that as a live stream as well, because that would be really fun to get some audience interaction on that.
I would enjoy that. So
a perfectly simple discussion
airplanes.
about the most dangerous interwar aircraft ever designed, like that thing.
What are other lists of aircraft you've done? Have you done lists of aircraft like that before?
I've only really done the top 10 ugliest stuff. I do want to
I
do.
I remember part of that.
Yeah, I do want to do other ones. Now that I've got more free time again, hence why we're having this discussion today.
Right.
But we'll definitely come back and do that and do a live stream as well. But I think this sort of wraps up what we wanted to talk about today, as far as I'm aware.
I believe so. Do we want an conclusion or anything?
What is your favorite out of the ones you talked about?
Out of the ones we talked about, the Caspar U1 hits close to home because I know where parts of that thing actually are.
It's a really cool concept as well, like, submarine
really
launched scout plane.
As far as coolness factor, the Owl's up there.
Yeah, the Owl's my favorite pick from this.
It's hard for me because it's kind of like choosing favorite children. I can't be really biased because I like all the weird, wonderful things.
Yes.
The Zeppelin's cool because it is really kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. But I think I got to go for the S1.
Yep.
That control system is just so strange. Yeah, that's gonna be my favorite.
You could say they all get a participation trophy. There are no losers in Rex's hangar.
No, the only loser is the McCabe. I never want to see that thing, even in my dreams.
I completely sympathize with that. That is
horrible.
a flying disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I would never have wanted to be a test pilot for that.
Absolutely not.
Because no, it does not sound fun.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for coming on today and waffling on with me about some very obscure aircraft. And we will definitely be back to do more of this because this was a lot of fun. And again, to the viewers in the audience, if anyone has any suggestions for particularly obscure and strange aircraft they would like to have featured in future discussions, live streams, videos, etc., drop a comment below and let us know. But that is all for today. So we will see you all next time. Goodbye. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and a big thank you, of course, to the Patreon supporters. So this was sort of the first of a new series of videos that I'll be uploading onto the channel, and when I say videos, I'm being generous. This is more of a sort of podcast-style format that I'm going to be doing on various topics that interest me and I want to have shared with other people in the aviation history niche. I've got a bunch of other talks lined up, and these will also go on into some sort of podcast format on YouTube and probably also on platforms like Spotify as well, once I've got a few under my belt here. I'm, of course, still very new to this, so there'll be quite a few tweaks going forward, adjusting lengths, and that sort of thing, so we'll see how things go. A big thank you, of course, to our Wing Commander tier patrons, our highest tier supporters. Now, you will have noticed a slight absence in voting topics for the start of this month. That is because I'm just adjusting things a little bit, owing to the new video schedule moving forward, and also to cover plans for me to be away from the office over Christmas and for a couple of trips in the new year as well. So I'm just sort of planning the voting for Patreon supporters further ahead. A vote will go live on Patreon this month. It's just going to be towards the end of the month, and then the beginning of the month voting schedule should kick into again as of September. So please keep an eye out for that. But that is all for today. As always, thank you all so much for your continued support, and I will catch you all next time. Goodbye.